Once again, my lovely viewers, you are welcome to Kenikop TV, the TV channel on YouTube that interact, inform, and educate pig farmers about new innovations. Like we did in our previous episode, the Apicon Congress series. This is episode 2. And before we begin, let's go for a quick commercial break. Thank you.
TV is also proudly sponsored by Kenikop Barbershop, located at Bokum Estate near the CTI gate around Sojaman Park. Our contact is on the screen. Just pick it up, call us, and come for us to design your hair for you. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience and you are welcome back. Today we are talking about what role does culture and religion play in our pig farming industry? Very interesting discussion by our panel members from South Africa, Belgium, Nigeria, and Ghana. Stay tuned and enjoy.
So please subscribe, like, and share it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all. Okay. Good morning, all. It's a great privilege to be back home once again. I'm a Nigerian by birth, but I'm also a Ghanaian. There is no year that I'm not in Ghana. I'm a fellow of the Ghana Society for Animal Production. Dr. Ajorodo there. We belong to the same body. I'm also a member of the Ghana Animal Science Association. So, all about pigs in Ghana, I'm involved. Poultry, I'm also involved. And to a very reasonable extent, when we talk about pig production in Africa, let me use Nigeria as a case study. There used to be what is known as Marrow Farm. In the 50s, 60s, it was the largest farm in the world. Check it. Why? Nigeria was a hub for slave trade. Nigeria was a hub for, get the resources, move it out to where? Europe. There was what is known as the Granite Pyramid in Kano. Kano is in northern Nigeria. It's a Muslim dominated region. But yet, as at then, because Granite Pyramid was there and it was moved with train out of Kano to Lagos and then shipped out. There was this granite waste. And this farm was established by the colonial masters to make use of the waste such that it was then fed to pigs. That was what brought about that farm. But as of today, there is no trace of any of such a farm having come into existence in Kano. Why? Religion. Religion attracts to itself a kind of culture. I'm sorry. Maybe for today, when we see the youth, just like somebody, I won't mention his name, but you all know him, is wearing a kind of beard, unlike Mr. Tommy on this panel. In the dead days, when you see people wearing such beard, what do you say of them? You say this man must be a Muslim. Because when you keep the game. Now, when you also see the regalia putting on, when you get to Nigeria, when you see what the moderators said was a kaftan, it's like that is a traditional or cultural outfit of the Muslims. Wearing beard belongs to the Muslims. Religion now bringing about a kind of dressing, a kind of look that cascaded to what is now known to, pig is an abomination in Islam. So it is not expected to be reared. But that is not true. We were given data. In northern Nigeria, it's like close to zero production of pigs. Why? Because of Islamic faith. But I tell you today, if you go into the details, but for the Coptic Christians in Egypt, pig production is gradually growing in Egypt. In Morocco, when you look at the figure in Morocco, the figure in Morocco is also gradually increasing now. Why? It's an Islamic country, but there are a few, what we call visitors in the country. Tourists, as well as, is it emigrating people that are just migrants? Now, because they now discovered that these tourists, they take delight in pork and its products, and then they saw that there was a deficit, as indicated in the earlier two presentations. The government decided, added to that of Morocco, was the fact that during the avian influenza that wiped out poultry, the farmers embraced pig production just to produce meat and do what? And export. They are producing for the tourists as export. So there are fringes of increases in production in some of these northern parts of Africa. Here in West Africa, where it's not equal. Christian, Muslim, traditional belief is just in different shades. We have a problem emanating from both cultural as well as religion. When I mean cultural, because we are traditional believers. For instance, there is a part of Nigeria, a particular town in Nigeria. They sacrifice to a god on a daily basis, and it is believed that the only animal acceptable by that particular god is a pig, and it must be a pure bread. If exotic bread is slaughtered for that deity, it will reject it. How they know? They know. I am not part of them. But there is also some communities that are traditionally into local pig production without the exotic line. But I will say this: religion on one side, cultural belief on the other side. We saw the figure projected for South Africa. We saw that projected for Nigeria. But when we looked at when it was juxtaposed with pork production, that is pig meat production, why was that of South Africa almost equal to the number in Malawi and to that in Nigeria? It is just because South Africa has developed infrastructure for pig production, and not just developed infrastructure that brought about intensive production, but the farmers have embraced improved breeds of pigs. Am I right? When you are looking at improved breeds of pigs, there is what is known as pig yield, the meat output per animal. So one animal, if you are saying a particular pig of exotic line or its crosses, it will not give you less than, if you have 100 kilogram pig, it will give you not less than 70 kilo pork. But what about the breeds that we rear on this other side? Hardly would we slaughter 100 kilogram pig and we get down to 50 kilo. You can see the differential, 20 kilogram difference on one animal, because they are of no known whether trait or breed. So the practice, which has now become a culture, a tradition, is also influencing separate from religion. So until we embrace the intensive production as well as using exotic breeds, exotic lands, then we are not going to get there. If we are to get there, yes, we might have, like you said, we might have the training of this world. We must be ready to change. One. Two, we must embrace what? The use of improved breeds. Pigs of known genealogy. That brings Mr. Tony to the fore here. Before we now come to the practice of how do we now rear this improved breed, because they have a feeding requirement which must be met, then we will get there. I hope I put some input. Thank you.
Yeah, the impact of culture and religion is definitely it's a marked influence that has on consumption. Like if you look at tradition and culture, I'm coming from a background where people think that if you want to eat meat, it must be beef. And there's a lot of people that are thinking that beef is the primary meat source. And yeah, my family and my friends, yeah, most of them, yeah, I've educated them, yeah, so I can put it that way. So they are now enjoying pork, and they are, if you have a bride, they will bring pork to the bride. So culture and tradition, as I said, that can be mitigated, it can be changed. With religion, it's a difficult story. But yeah, there's definitely over the past couple of years positive changes as far as culture and traditions are concerned. And yeah, I worked with a lot of people. I spent a couple of years in 2007 being the manager there. And, yeah, a lot of employees there. And yeah, a lot of them changed from coming from a background where they don't consume pork. I think that's the meat that they prefer. So I hope that's answering your question.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to introduce myself. As I said, I'm Brian Manye. I'm from Animal Production Directorate rather than the Veterinary Service. I'm a deputy director there. I would like to acknowledge my teachers. I'm here, I have two teachers here. They don't report in the undergrad and masters. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Jelulu and Dr. Tim Williams. I'm here today because of their contribution. So I salute them. Now let's come back to the question that he asked. It's no different from what we are hearing with regards to the African continent. As we said from our presentation, we got to realize that the ancestral pig of Africa, which is the South Kofa, actually came from Europe. That's where it actually came from. And due to Arab invasion, now when we talk of pig production in Africa as a whole, Northern Africa is minus in the sense that the population in pigs in North Africa is about 1% compared to the East Africa, which has about 38% of the pig population we have in Africa. And the situation is no different when we come to Ghana, in the sense that religion and culture has adverse effect on the productivity of pigs. Now, let's make reference to Ghana. We have our Muslim brothers that is haram even to go, or is it haram? It's like a taboo for you to mention pig or to say something about pig when is there, unless maybe the person is not a practicing Muslim, and then he's just Muslim just by being there. And then there are some cultures that also prohibit the use of the pig. So that is actually affecting the pig industry in Ghana. It's not enhancing the growth of the industry. And I think it's about time we debunk the ideology by making them understand the essence and then the economic value of the pig production so as they can adjust to it. As my dear colleague said, it's difficult to convince somebody religiously, but I think with culture, one, they adapt. Now, you see, one of the challenges we have in our country here is nutritional food security. Now, the per capita consumption of pig in Ghana as at today is around 1.4 kilo. And it used to be far, far lower than that. It used to be around 0.45 in the 60s. Because a lot of people have perception about pigs. Now, this perception, this adverse perception people had, one was as a result of the way they used to keep the animals. Usually most of those times up to now, to some extent, most of the system that was used in keeping these animals was the scavenging system. And then animals were allowed to roam around and scavenge around and they feed on all sorts of things. And then that will hinder other people from patronizing the pork meat. But now that we are getting the things are changing and we need to also debunk that idea that people already have cultivated from time immemorial that the pig has that, the pig has that. It's not more that. Now there are different breeds, there are improved breeds. What most people know is our local pig, which is Asante Black. That is what most people know here. And then it's usually bred or kept in that scavenging way. That is the sensitive system. And then we have improved breeds that are kept solely in intensive system, fair, catered for. And looking at how prolific the pig is one of the animals that can change the nutritional security when it comes to malnutrition with regards to what protein. Because when we talk of feed convertibility of pig is very high. Now, how the fertility of pig is very high. You know, we are among the domestic animals that can have large number of litter at a time. So all these things will attribute to the positive side of the pig productivity. That we must tell people, those that are culturally inclined, that they don't adhere to pig productivity for them to come into the productivity of pig so as we can help the industry grow in Ghana.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Now, Satomi, Mr. Satomi. As Shuko has said, I might be an heterogeneous Nigerian. But I still feel very happy when I see fellow Africans very, very interested in what we call the big industry. As Prof, if I may say, as rightly said, I also had an experience in Morocco when an offer came for pigs, and I was being open that I was shocked. Going further down, I now confirm, I was able to confirm what he said, that the tourist industry, which Morocco is doing a lot on, it's increasing in the past 5 years. They've been able to increase almost double the GDP made from tourism. So eventually, economics is changing the order of the day. So basically, Muslim country is opting for big meat. Why? Because of the visitors. The various nationals that are in that are visiting Morocco. I went further down. I chatted with this man. This guy came from France to farm pigs in Morocco. Yes. When I started coming to Africa, I think in 2020, with the pig industry and my package, I have been able to meet I was able to meet, had the opportunity to meet many people, many perspectives. As the doctor has said earlier on, I came to deduce that religion is a very, very difficult issue to tackle. However, we have the culture. treating the mere idea of consuming pork as, dirty. I mean, it was surprising. And you see these people, they have malnutrition. Yeah, it's a reality. It's like, for me, it's like someone dying, and you offer to give him a cup of water, and he's complaining and telling you it's dirty. You know, this is the situation. Fast forward. I have a friend in Romania. He has an 800 South unit. He's a Turkish national, a Muslim for that matter, and he's selling things. I asked him, hey, if you don't talk about that, he knew what I wanted to ask him. He said, if my parents knew what I was doing, they would punish me. Yeah, it's business. He's a millionaire now. So, fast forward. When I come to Africa, our level of, I'm sorry, I have to say, our level of belief is even stronger than those of the initiators. It's so I can't believe it many times, but we have to live with it. In a conclusion, the other one. Lots of bushmeat, right? In the GDR, in places on the borders with Cameroon, we hear recently of MPX. Mpox, sorry. Yeah, Mpox. Ebola. So people prefer to eat apes, to eat whatever, and risk the possibility of getting infected with this disease, even though the health ministries, WHO, they shout around, they risk these factors and continue to consume these things. Okay, those are the clients. So, in conclusion, I think we all have to come together. And I must also say that I appreciate, I was in South Africa 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, probably. And I must say I appreciate what South Africans are doing with Sabo, right? So I want to conclude that for the big industry to proceed to gain the right place in the animal protein kingdom, there has to be a level of organization at the big farmers level. Exactly what was done in South Africa. Marketing, promotion, and creating awareness to break taboos and break cultural barriers. That's the way forward.
What my brother just said. If there is a responsibility, I take responsibility, and I want to share with my brother because I already identified him as the chair for Pig Farmers Association of Ghana. If we take the bull by the horn, awareness is a creation, I call it advocacy. If we start a new wave of awareness, which will dovetail to advocacy, that will take to the level of government, we'll be able to transform the big industry. There cannot be any African country where, I would say, the agricultural space is, I don't want to be particular, but you will know when I make the statement. Where the agricultural space is dominated by certain religious people. Yet, in Nigeria, pig production is growing. So, and pig production is growing because there is the awareness creation. The government has a part to play. I told you I'm partly Ghanaian. I come here every year. I've had cause to interface. Dr. Ajololo, you can bear the witness. The executive, we interface with the government. Same applies to the which West African country is a major cattle producing country. It's a lie, a ruse. Our strength, where we have comparative advantage in livestock production, is poultry and pigs. And then if we are talking of ruminants, sheep and goats, not cattle. Cattle, Mali, Chad, Niger, and all the North African countries, that's where cattle thrive. And it is in the process of selling them that they come down south to West Africa. If we now want to grow big production to get to strike place, we must change the narrative. For instance, in Ghana, we've had cause to interface with the government. The import license issued to some importers to bring in poultry and pig products. If it's not outrightly, it cannot be outrightly cancelled or what? Reduced over time. Today, if you go to, is it Makola that is the major market? Of yes, you see wing for chicken. You see the dog, the thigh. You see different parts. But go around Ghana, all the regions. Where are the poultry farms? They are almost closed. Why? The one that is brought from Brazil is cheaper than the one that the man in Ghana will produce. So why would the man produce? Same goes for pigs. Because they are cereal maize, soybean, groundnut cake. Where will you get it? Even when you use agro-industrial byproduct to raise your pigs, as against what is done in South Africa, where it is just, you know what you are feeding and you get the right result. You within agro-industrial byproducts. We must ensure that our government, we are the ones that are putting people in place in government. Why are we not able to now tell them what we need to be done or what needed to be done? So for this narrative to be changed in terms of cultural, the Farmers Union must ensure that they pass the right message to government, whether in Ghana or in Nigeria. South Africa is doing a lot, like I said, and I've told you what has been identified as their area of strength. If Morocco, if Egypt, all these North African countries, if you see the rate at which they are investing into pig production, you'll be shocked. It's because we are not there. So why are we that has comparative advantage? Yes, and I'm hungry. We talk about SDG, we talk about poverty alleviation, we talk about eradication of food security, poverty eradication. If it is just to address those two, what is the key? Increase pig production and pig of the right breed. And pig of the right breed being fed the right way and embracing good agricultural practices.
It's also proudly sponsored by Kenikop Barbershop, located at Bokum Estate near the CTI gate around Sojaman Pub. Our contact is on the screen. Just pick it up, call us, and come for us to design your hair for you. Thank you.
So that's how we end today's episode. And I believe you also have something to say about what role culture and religion play in our pig farming industry in Ghana. I have my say concerning colonialism, religion, and everything, but I will bring my take later. Thank you for your time. Enjoy Stay tuned and meet you in the next episode. Bye bye for now.
If you want to know about pigs, Kenny Cup TV is your channel. Go for it.